Managing Conflict by Samantha, Melissa, and Nicole. Managing conflict is a necessary part of our job as teachers. The classroom often mimics real life, so students will benefit greatly from knowing how to deal with conflict in a positive and healthy way.
Our first article was called A Peer Mediation Model, Conflict Resolution for Elementary and Middle School Children. This was written by Pamela Lane and J. Jeffries McWhirter in 1992. It's a bit of an older article, but we found that it had a lot of great ideas and implications for teaching today, so we thought that it was useful. So this article and its study into peer mediation was a response to the acknowledgement that schools reflect the problems of a larger society in various ways: fighting, bullying, vandalizing, absenteeism, acting out, and demonstrating racial antagonism. These frequent interpersonal and intergroup conflicts often begin as small tensions and escalate when unresolved. If those in power only hand out punishment, the development of student sensitivity to and awareness of the ways in which others are affected by their actions will never materialize. And so this article argued that counselors need to encourage win-win situations, and conflict resolution through peer mediation is a model that evolved from this realization. And so what is school peer mediation? Simply, it's a mode of student conflict management where two trained peer mediators work as a team to encourage problem solving between disputants. Mediation provides a structured forum for the resolution of disputes rather than traditional discipline means such as suspension. Student involvement in the mediation process ensures practice with critical thinking, problem solving, and self-discipline. The article stated that the process of peer mediation is a self-empowering one. It enables students to make decisions about issues and conflicts that affect their own lives. Student participation in self and peer behavior change is related to the development of self-regulation. Self-regulation must be practiced, however, and so the school peer mediation model provides daily opportunities for this reinforcement. This idea comes from the perspective of children helping children. Peer leaders have been found to have greater credibility regarding student social interactions. They serve as role models, demonstrate pro-social behaviors, and reinforce norms that certain behaviors are deviant rather than acceptable, while providing alternatives to these behaviors. This is a quote from the article stating that children who are taught to mediate conflict in the schools apply communication skills, listen to varying perspectives, evoke mutual contributions to the problem's eventual solution, and attend to feelings, all in an atmosphere of respect for the parties involved. And so, what did we learn from this article? Here are some benefits to students and the school. Overall, studies found that both student behavior and school discipline problems improved as a result of peer mediation. One study found that at-risk disputants, so students who had been referred frequently for discipline problems, were observed to exhibit shifts to cooperation after experiencing peer mediation. This was supported by a 47% decrease in self-reported aggressive conflicts. Students who directly participated in the program developed more pro-social attitudes toward conflict, with preferred preference for a collaborative style of conflict resolution. A second study found that peer mediation increased empowerment and volunteerism with mediators. And so overall, all students, both disputants or mediators, benefited from a place within the process to talk about problems, learn about the views of others, and practice communicating in a nonviolent and non-judgmental atmosphere.
The second article that we've chosen to explore for this presentation is The Effects of Conflict Resolution and Peer Mediation Training on Turkish Elementary School Students' Conflict Resolution Strategies. This article is from 2010 and explores conflict management in a more diverse context. This article studied the effectiveness of conflict resolution and peer mediation, or CRPM, training programs among 10 and 11-year-old elementary school students across 3 Turkish elementary schools. The CRPM training programs that students took part in consisted of conflict management and resolution skills, including understanding the nature of interpersonal conflicts, communication, anger management, negotiation, and peer mediation. The article states that it is an essential educational function of schools to help students acquire conflict resolution skills necessary to maintain interpersonal relationships throughout their lives. What they learn now will follow them through to adulthood. As stated by Hart and Gunty, violence as a destructive conflict resolution strategy causes disruption of the educational process, fear and absenteeism among students, staff burnout, and urban flight. The CRPM programs aim to give students the skills to transform their conflict resolution skills from destructive to constructive. Humphreys concluded a variety of benefits from structured conflict management peer mediation programs. Peer mediators are thought to develop an improved ability to express problems and develop positive problem-solving skills, as well as better communication patterns and improved self-image. CRPM programs provide students with multiple opportunities to be responsible for their own actions at a critical developmental stage in their lives. Conflict resolution and peer mediation training in schools has widely been used in Western cultures with positive results. However, in the Eurasian and Islamic cultures and schools, more information related to the effects of such training is needed, according to the article, which is the purpose of this study and the reason that we chose to examine it. Our classrooms are increasingly diverse, and it is necessary to understand that conflict management connects to culture in complex ways. Now, on to the results. The article concluded that CRPM training at elementary levels has been shown to decrease withdrawing and avoidance, as well as forceful behaviors, while encouraging constructive, restorative, and peaceful behaviors in classroom and school settings. CRPM was shown to be significantly more effective on boys than on girls. However, positive change in behavior in girls is still present when only comparing their results as a gender over time. Interpersonal conflicts in schools will no longer be regarded as incidents that must be avoided or must be resolved in a destructive manner. Rather than utilizing violent behaviors as a method of conflict resolution, students in the program saw alternative methods of communication to resolve their differences. Teachers reported increased instructional time as disruptive behaviors decreased and students handled their conflicts independently with their given strategies. Administrators received fewer referrals for disciplinary action, and the article found that culturally relevant CRPM training programs at the elementary level may be necessary to create a more peaceful classroom and school atmosphere. Now for what we've learned to take away from this article. The first thing is that CRPM programs are proven to be effective across a variety of cultures, but implementation in culturally relevant and culturally sensitive ways is integral to its success in diverse classrooms and/or settings. The second is that effective CRPM programs require staff training and support in conjunction with program implementation, as well as proper training for students to ensure the program is carried out correctly. The third is that CRPM programs benefit students the most, giving them the lifelong skills for communication and mediation, increasing their self-confidence and sense of responsibility, and allowing for a safer, more peaceful school environment to be in. Lastly, CRPM programs specifically are an effective form of conflict resolution and conflict management. This type of structured program to teach students a variety of conflict resolution skills is proven to be effective and beneficial for students and staff.
Now that we've learned about managing conflict, what can we do about it? We can give students the tools and the opportunities to become peer mediators. We can create a safe space for students to have healthy disagreements, and we can encourage openness and create a classroom environment free of judgment. We will explore these things further. How can we give students the opportunity to become peer mediators? The first thing we need to do is to make students aware of what peer mediators can do. We could let students know about this by planning a lesson, watching some videos, or organizing an assembly. This is their first introduction into this way of conflict resolution. Whether it's a large or small scale event, it'll definitely have an impact. Second of all, there are so many skills students will be able to hone by using this model. By teaching these skills to all students, it'll give them the most chances to be successful at conflict resolution. Teach them skills like leadership, communication, problem solving, self-regulation, and self-discipline. They're not only great in the classroom or for mediation, they're skills that are transferable in life and will help them as they grow. Finally, allow them to participate. Give them the opportunity to be a part of this change. Once students have basic skills, they will be allowed to try them out. A great way of doing this is through role-playing. It's a low-risk way of letting them experience the job of a peer mediator, and it'll let them decide if they want to do this moving forward. If the students take a liking to this role, they should be encouraged to try out for the role of mediator. The teacher can also choose to nominate a student and have them try it out as well. The most important thing is to let anybody try out for this role. Regardless of their history with conflict in the classroom, some students who have benefited most from this role in our studies were the ones who used to be part of the conflicts. How do we create a safe space for students to have healthy disagreements in our own classroom? First of all, it'd be a great idea to have a designated area in the classroom for this purpose. Make sure students know they can come here to discuss conflict safely. Make the area as inviting as possible. And most of all, make sure this area is visible so the teachers can supervise. This area should be a safe space for all students to use without judgment, but we also want to encourage students to use the classroom area properly. And sometimes students may still need a teacher nearby in case the situation does not go the way it was planned. The area should also not just be known as the safe space, it should reflect that. Give the area some helpful tools and tips. Have conflict resolution scripts ready. Have discussion boards. Have affirmations and tips posted in the area. Sometimes students could struggle with wording, or some may want help having safe and respectful discussions. This is where the scripts, the discussion boards, and everything else would be great. Something else that is great for students is the affirmation and tips. Conflicts are not easy to deal with, so by using the area, students should feel reassured that they're making good and mature decisions. Finally, always have the option for a mediator there if necessary. Have a peer mediator or teacher available and aware the area is being used. Some conflicts will need assistance, and that's okay. How can we model and encourage openness and create a classroom environment free of judgment? This begins with how you set your classroom. Set clear boundaries and a class code of conduct right at the beginning of the year. If students know right off the bat that this is how students in your class treat each other, it'll be easier to have students come to trust one another. Building trust comes with time, but having the right building blocks will definitely help. Second, encourage vulnerability and trust with emotions. Establish a culture that is respectful of feelings. Teach students about empathy. Put yourself in other people's shoes. Many students struggle to express their emotions in a productive way. It's important that they realize they're not alone in dealing with emotions, and in your class, they should feel safe and free to express and deal with those emotions constructively. This creates a great foundation for dealing with conflicts positively. Finally, model and encourage your own rules. Show students the same respect you would like them to have for one another. Students should not judge others, neither should the teacher. Encourage students as you see them making an effort to be open and respectful. Positively handling conflicts is difficult for many students. When you see them making an effort, let them know. This is a positive way to encourage the right way of dealing with conflict. In conclusion, the research shows that teaching students how to properly manage conflicts can be beneficial to the class and school climate, as well as in society. Here are some additional resources. The first article presents a triad framework of conflict transformation principles, Indigenous principles, and values, as well as storytelling methodology to contribute new ways and look at researching conflict to integrate peacebuilding into conflict resolution. The second article focuses on constructive conflict resolution and common strategies to teach conflict resolution skills to students. Here are our references. Thank you, and let us know if you have any questions.